Yo, 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 yo. Listen, the reality is it feels really good to have podcasts recorded, edited, and uploaded for release for like the next 4 weeks. Feels really good. Um, it's not something I have historically done, so it feels really great. I feel accomplished. The problem I find is that I don't have anything relevant to talk about for right now. And so there's some s'mores in this house. There's some s'mores in this house. I've been sitting on that for a while. I don't know why. And so we're going to talk about, like, I'm going to do a straight shooter episode right now. This is what's on my mind. This is what's happening today. This is going to get released this week, probably tomorrow, maybe the next day. Just this kind of stuff that's going on right now. There's lots of stuff that I talk about with some guests on podcasts that are coming up. I've got an episode coming up with Hank Gibson, releasing on the 26th of February. I got an episode with Danny Mosier coming out in early March, second week of March. And then we'll just kind of fill in the gaps with these little doohickeys here. I'll have Adam will be home from Florida soon. We'll try to get one with Uncle Adam. I know that we're going to go record with somebody else as well on their podcast. So, but like right now, what am I doing? I'm scouting, and I love scouting this time of year. I just did it on Monday. I was in Ohio. I had my annual review on Monday. I drove to Columbus for a hour-and-a-half meeting with my boss. It went really well. I didn't anticipate it would not go well. It went just fine. But it was at a weird time. It was like 1:30 in the afternoon, and so like there was not enough time for me to like scout before. But there was time for me on the way home. So I stopped on the way home and I boots on the grounded a piece of public land in Ohio that I've never been to. It looked kind of neat as I drive by it. So I flagged it or dropped a pin as I was driving and came back. I did like 3 miles that day. I've for a long time, and even on Monday, I had 2 cameras with me with batteries, and had I found something that really tickled my pickle, and I did, I probably would have deployed a camera. But I actually talked myself out of it this year. While I was in the woods, I could tell that this area gets hunted pretty hard, and it's not hard to figure out. It's like on the main road. Of course, people are going to stop there. It's easy to get to. It's easy to get in and out of. But man, I found some great sign. Like the snow is 90% gone down there. I'm looking for like historical sign. Again, this is nothing groundbreaking. I'm looking for something to tell me there is either A, enough deer here for me to hunt, or B, there's a big buck in here, and I want to at least figure out if he's still here. And I found the latter. I found some very big beds, strategically placed beds, thick cover, obviously stereotypical bedding, and tremendous rubs. Like this buck, there was a big buck in here for sure. Last season, potentially even into the snow. He could still be alive. I have no idea. Big tracks, huge sign. And so initially I was marking everything. So I marked the bedding. I marked the rubs, plural, so that I could kind of zoom out and look at them on sort of a macro scale. What direction were these rubs going? What do I think they were doing? Why were the rubs where they were? Why was the bedding where it was? Now, last year's Brett and all years past would have put a fucking camera in there, and I would have set a camera up on a rub line, and I would have put $25 worth of AA batteries in there, and I would have put that thing up high, and I would have started another subscription service for this camera. And then I would have watched nothing until I could go down there again and move that camera. And so I'm saving myself $50 and some annoyance by waiting. Well, I don't need to put the camera up. I already saw the sign that said there was a big buck on his feet in this area. What I decided to do was I'll come back later. I will determine my access route. And at that time, probably June, probably July, when it's as bad as it can possibly get, I will figure out how am I going to get in here. And then I will determine, I already kind of flagged it for like, here's some trees. Here's where I think I want to hunt. Then I will put a camera up. Should be able to see maybe some deer at that time. I didn't bump any deer. I didn't visibly bump any deer, but I could see that I bumped deer based on the tracks in the snow, the fresh kicked up leaves. I had been bumping them on my way back out. And so again, listen, there's deer in there. I don't need to put a camera up in February. I didn't find any sheds, but I found great sign. And so that was really big for me, is kind of turning that corner on having to have a camera everywhere. I suppose I didn't bring any with me, but I suppose I could have done an SD card cam. But there's just that I have always wanted to have a cell cam everywhere I go. That's what I've been doing since I started buying cellular cameras. I've been wanting to have one everywhere. And I get absolutely fucking burnt out on the camera's not showing me anything. I got to move it. I got to change my subscription. I got to get more cameras. I got to get more batteries. The SD card didn't, update. I got to go get that camera because it died, or it's like, I got to get out of that loop of feeling like I have to have instant gratification all the time. I could have done an SD card camera. I could have had it running all spring and summer and then gone to check it in August. I just didn't have those cameras in my truck on Monday. Maybe that's something I do, because I hunted an area this year with no cell service, but I did have a camera out there. And so that morning, I'll never forget this. The morning that I went out there and set up on this ridge, my plan was to hunt, grab my camera, and leave. It was the end of the season. We're still talking Ohio, by the way. The plan was to do that, and I was as excited that morning because I had no information. I had no information other than the fact that there were tracks, there were rubs, there were scrapes in this area, and anything was possible. Little did I know that there were very few deer on that camera. There was one hunter like a month prior to that, me grabbing that camera. But just the clean slate was super exciting. And so I'm trying to approach everything like that this year. If I go somewhere that's really far away, when I go to my place in Illinois, I'm going to put cameras out, but I'm going to put them on solar. I'm going to put them on solar that's fully charged. I'm going to hopefully not have to do anything with those cameras. They're in proven areas. I can watch the deer shed, grow, mature, and just kind of, it's a place that I'm not going to drive 6.5 hours all the time to go to that place for cameras. Like I'm going to get them set up once. Worst case scenario, if there's an emergency, a second time, that's fine. But these places that are 1, 2, 3, 4 hours is pushing it. Those places, I'm not going to go get my camera set up in February, because then inevitably what I'll do is I'll put a camera up and then I'll ignore it. And I'll by default go, that's the spot. And I will stop my scouting. And I've got to stop doing that. I need to do more boots on the ground. Even if I find an area that looks great, that's still last year's information. And I want to scout all year. And so I think by eliminating that desire to put a camera out too early will kind of force me to do that. Now, I can't promise that as we get into like May, June, July, that I'm not going to be just like desperate to get cameras out. I love the growing season, the antler growing season, just as much as anybody. And I'm gonna need to start getting some some confirmation that what I'm looking at is working. But I do believe that I'm going to start waiting till like May to start getting some of these cameras out in areas that I can get to frequently. That way, if something does sort of die on me, I can go get it and fix it. If the batteries die prematurely, I can go swap them out easily because it's substantially closer. I'm in Ohio all the time, not Illinois. So I'm looking just to see, are there deer here, period? Is there buck sign, period? And then if there is, great, because I'm still at that point where out of state, I'm just looking for an adventure. I don't have sort of like an inches qualifier to a deer I'm going to shoot. I have not done a very good job in Ohio of hunting and putting any sort of a plan together. And I don't like that. So I've got 2 years of eating my tag in Ohio, and I want to fix that this year. I want to really focus on just, are there deer here? Because if there is, I'm gonna shoot a deer. So like I'm not gonna hold out for everything. I'm gonna go there. I'm gonna hunt, and if a deer is old enough, I'm gonna shoot it, and it's gonna be great. I'm gonna have a good time. I'm sort of looking at Michigan differently this year. I had shot a deer in late season. Excuse me, my throat is a little raspy today. I'm telling you right now, the new Silver Lightning energy drink from Form Energy tastes like Squirt. The soft drink, not pee-pee. I don't know if Squirt is a regional reference. I don't know if you can get Squirt everywhere, but man, that new energy drink is amazing. So anyway, Michigan, I shot a buck late season. It was a fun hunt. I had a great time doing it. But the deer was probably 2. And I feel like this is just me. Now I know I'm speaking out of both sides of my mouth here. I had a great time. Like I hunted hard to shoot a deer this year. I just harder than I had to. I passed too many deer, does included. I passed way too many does. I didn't put the effort in. Here's the truth. What is happening in Michigan is I've shot plenty of deer in Michigan, plenty of bucks at that property. I'm still, when I go there, if Adam's there, and he's like, I really want to shoot this deer, and the deer is historically on the south side of the property, I won't even push it. I'll just be like, you hunt the south. I will figure something out. And I've been real passive about that, and that's fine to a point, because then what happens is, and I'm not mad at Adam or by any means, it's all me. My problem is that I don't have other properties to hunt other than public, and I'm not putting the effort in, and it's all me. I am accepting all blame. What happens is I pass doe, I then can't hunt, like I'm not finding bucks, and so the end of the season comes around, and I'm like, fuck, I'm hunting really hard, and then I have an enjoyable hunt, and I get excited, and I see a buck, and I shoot it, and I get it, and I'm like, fuck, it's another 2-year-old. And I'm real thankful that that animal gave me a fun hunt. I'm thankful that I was able to harvest an animal. I'm thankful that I was able to process my own deer. I processed my own deer all year. I didn't take a single deer to the processor this year, and that gets me rock fucking hard, because I think that's a super cool skill. Hey, listen, I know you guys have been doing that for a long time. I haven't, so suck my dick, okay? I'm really excited about myself. I'm thankful that deer put meat in my freezer. We just consumed some of it the other day. I'm super grateful for all of that. But I got to stop shooting 2-year-olds. And I'm having a tough time, because even when I look back at the video of me shooting that buck, I'm looking at him walking around in the snow, and I'm thinking to myself, fuck, even on video, I get excited about that buck, but I got to get to a point where I look at that and I go, I know that's exciting. I need to give those bucks a pass. It's the very standard 100-inch 8-point. 100-inch Michigan 8-point. I gotta stop shooting. It's really difficult because I'm excited about it. I'm excited to see a deer from the tree. I'm excited to have walked in and tracked and set up based on historical information. I'm excited that he came in, albeit a little far. I'm excited that I shot him. I'm excited that he didn't die. I'm excited that I had to get down and literally run his ass to death on the ground and put another arrow in him. That's fucking cool. Okay? I love it. And I think I've had this conversation where it's like, back in the day when the Native Americans hunted, not every shot was a fucking pinwheel. Not every shot from a Native American or an early settler was the perfect shot on the deer. But that wasn't the fucking point. The point was I needed to eat. And I'm out for an adventure, but I'm also out to harvest the deer, to put in my freezer, to feed my family. And so it was a bad shot. I made a bad shot. I'm going to learn from it. But the cool part was I literally ran the fucking deer down until he couldn't run anymore. And then I put another shot on the animal. But all that said, I got to stop shooting 2-year-olds. I feel like we're going to really scale back our camera usage in Michigan. The property is not a mystery. We know what the deer do. The mystery is what bucks survived. What do we have to shoot? So I think I probably will wait till August to put any cameras up. There's one going right now, but it's always going. And I think we'll probably wait to put cameras up till July or August. Not now. I did some scouting previously. I was looking for antlers. There was still way too much snow. Found some interesting some sign that I did not see during the season because my scouting goes away during the season. A lot of guys are talking about this right now. Why do I go out of state and scout, hunt, and then come back to my home state and just hunt? No scouting. So I find it really interesting, some of the scrape locations that I found just the other day that, I mean, they make sense, but they were, I never saw them until just the other day. And so I want to put a little more effort back into my in-season scouting here in my home state. I really want to get more property to hunt and or hunt some more public land. I say that every year. But I'm pretty serious about it. And so I got to figure this out. I've been mailing letters out. Haven't done any door knocking. I've been mailing letters out, and I got to continue to do that. I think that's probably all I really want to talk about as far as what I'm doing right now and why I'm doing it. Like I don't want this to be too long. I want to be just a real short, easily digestible episode to kind of fill the gap again amongst these banked podcasts, and then kind of go from there. Recently, I've had this creative burst where it's like everything that I find funny, I'm writing down. And I've talked about this before. I don't think there are any bad ideas. I think there's bad execution, and maybe some ideas that just don't hit. But I've had some really funny ideas that I kind of wanted to see through to completion. And so the first one I did was the racist ghost, and I don't think many people found that funny, and that's okay. I still think it's very funny, and I will probably do the racist ghost again, but I'm doing them like in the podcast intros, so I'll kind of cut the intro music and kind of drop it in there and then bring it on back to the intro music and then go right into the episode. I have to do that. I cannot be a boring and dull podcaster. I am a fucking nerd. I'm a psycho nerd, and my brain works really strangely. And if I find something funny, I'm sure somebody else will. And so I write these things down, and then they kind of live in my notes area in my phone, and then I get to this point where I kind of have this, I'm like frantically, I got to do something with them because I don't like having all these ideas and then not doing anything with it. So I've had all these ideas. I'm starting to see some things through. I did the racist ghost. I have one coming up in my next episode called The Uncultured Honky. And that was something that I said out loud during a conversation with a family member. And she was really surprised that I knew something. And I said, "What do you think I am? Some uncultured honky?" And it kind of made me laugh because I realized that the uncultured honky in and of itself is a pretty funny thing. And it could be a standalone. It could honestly be a standalone podcast all by itself. So I created a skit for the uncultured honky. I also just created a skit for the horniest pastor. And I also realized that I have to read the room a little bit with these things. Like maybe if I talk to somebody that's very religious, having the horniest pastor skit in their podcast episode is not a good idea. And so, although it's my podcast, I want to be respectful ever so slightly. And I actually asked somebody, I said, "Hey man, what would you feel better with? Would you be more okay with the uncultured honky as your jokey skit in your podcast or the horniest pastor?" And he was definitely, he had no problem telling me that he wanted the uncultured honky. So anyway, Hank is going to have the uncultured honky in his intro. And then my podcast with Danny is going to have the horniest pastor. And I realize religion is not something people like to joke about, but I do. And there's these great characters. Like everybody knows a creepy pastor, right? Like you've been to church or you've seen it on TV where the guy's just a creep. It's always a guy. There's never a creepy lady pastor. It's always a dude, and you are suspicious of that person immediately. There's an exceptional character called Glenn. His name is Glenn, and he's on the show Letterkenny. And I kind of based it on Glenn, but I have these ideas and I have to get them out. It's like if I don't, I'm going to have this idea wet dream one day, and nobody wants the idea wet dream. Or just everything's just going to come splooging out of me. And just I don't know why I'm squeezing my idea dick, but I am. It's just all going to come blasting out of me at some point, and nobody's going to be prepared for that. So bear with me while I work through these skits. If there's anything you really like, let me know. If there's anything you really don't like, if you don't want them anymore, let me know. But also understand that I'm going to continue to do them. So there's a few more that I'm going to do. I have a medical phenomenon that I can't remember if I've ever talked about on here. And that's another problem. When you've podcasted for 10 plus years, you forget about all the things that you talked about. So if you've heard this before, just sit back and let me do my thing here. When I start to wear hooded sweatshirts, well, hold on. I have a very hairy chest. I'm a very hairy guy. I have a very hairy chest and belly. When that's scenario number one. Number two, when it becomes hooded sweatshirt season, there is some sort of scientific phenomenon that occurs that is causing lint to ball up and bury itself in my belly button. And then when I take a shower and the water cascades down this temple in my voluptuous body into my crevasse of a belly button, it erupts, it ejects the belly button lint out. And I've actually, this has been going on for years. This is not some new thing, okay? This has been happening for years. And for years, I've talked about collecting it and then doing something with it as a joke. Well, this year I have been collecting as much as I can possibly collect. Now, if I'm traveling for work and I'm in a hotel and my belly button lint shoots out, I'm not going to keep it. But here at home, I've been collecting it. And it's a lot. I want you to think about how fucked up that is first. Number two, I have an idea of what to do with it, but I'm not 100% sure, again, how to execute on my ideas. So stay tuned. Once hooded sweatshirt season is over, which is probably going to be another month and a half or something, maybe 2 months, I will have collected as much belly button lint as humanly possible in my domicile, in my home. And then I intend to do a craft project with it. I'm thinking somehow like ants on a log, maybe a family of raccoons, like little miniature. Anyway, I've got some ideas. My wife thinks that I'm crazy. She was imagining what happens when I die. Like, what is she supposed to do with that? And I said, you fucking bury it with me. Anyway, anybody have any ideas for what I could do as a craft project with the belly button lint that I have collected all year? And let me know in my... Listen, I have asked people to email the show, angelroadoutdoors@gmail.com. Obviously, Angel has 2 L's, you fucking idiots. It's in the name of the podcast. It's in the name of the Instagram page. It's in the name of the Facebook page. angelroadoutdoors@gmail.com. I've asked people to interact with the show. If you have an idea, a craft project for me to do with my belly button lint, email the show. I would like to have an email segment on this podcast where I can read some of this interaction that I have with people. I'm tired of it only being on Instagram. Send me some emails. Let's have some dialogue, you sons of bitches. And the last thing I want to talk about, we're going to end on this note, is urinal pubes. Seriously, guys? What are you doing? Are you unzipping your fucking pants and like reaching in with a claw and just pulling up a massive dick and pubes out through your zipper? How are you pulling a pubes? How are so many pubes coming out of your guys' pants that they're all over the front rim of the urinals? What are you doing? How do you not stick your little crab pinchers here? How do you not stick those in there and just grab dick to take out to piss? How, and if you are just using these guys, how do you not feel yourselves grabbing pubes and plucking a pube out as you remove your penis to pee into the urinal? I realize this is a very men-only problem, and I don't actually believe that women listen to this podcast, but this is a very men-only problem. Back me up, guys. There's always pubes on the urinal rim. Number one, I thought long pubes was a thing of the past. Are pubes coming back? Are we bringing back the pubes? Is that the name of this episode? Bringing back the pubes? Are we bringing back the bush? Are dudes' pubes so long that you're pulling them out as you pull your dick out to piss in the urinal? And if you're plucking them as you remove your dick to piss, how am I not hearing guys go, because it can't feel good? Or are you shedding pubes? Have you shed your pubes naturally from the all-day jostling in your underpants, that when you open up the door, the pubes just blast out into the urinal rim? What the fuck is going on? Why are there so many pubes in the men's room along the urinal? And I got to tell you, if my bush was that long and I kerplunked a few on the rim of the toilet, the urinal there, when I was done, I would just give them a little and blow them off the rim so they go into the urinal. and then flush them away to Neverland, wherever they go. I wish men were a little more responsible with their pubes. I mean, we owe it to our fellow man to be a little more mindful of where our pubes are or are not. If you disagree with me, let me know, either in the comments of this show episode or, again, email the show. Let's talk about pubes. Email me and let's talk pubes. Okay? I'm not afraid to talk pubes. I'm not afraid to talk massive bush. I'm not afraid to talk manscaping. I am a extremely heterosexual male with a mediocre sex drive and an average workman-like penis with a well-manicured pubic mane. I'm not afraid to talk about that with my fellow man. We've all got it. What are you embarrassed about? What are we doing, guys? Let's be a little more conscientious about our fellow pubic hair havers, men, our fellow man in the bathroom. And clean up after yourselves, okay, boys? Hey, listen, thanks for everybody for sticking around this long. I know this was kind of a weird one, but again, I just have to get this stuff off my head, get this stuff off my chest, out of my head before I erupt. So we'll talk to you all later. See ya.